to hear a motion to call the order.
That's a move.
A second. Do I have to ask if it carries now? All in
Clear,
favor?
yeah.
All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. So we can move on to consent agenda.
Are we gonna have an invocation as we do at the county commissioner meetings, where they do a prayer?
We don't typically start our meetings with prayers and invocation.
All right, well, I'm going to this time. Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity for us to meet with our leadership. God, we pray that they have judgment that is clear and sound, and that you put your angels around us and direct our footsteps, thoughts, and attitude. We want to be respectful. We want to do the right thing, Father in heaven, for our community. This is about the children. In Jesus' name, bless our meeting, I pray. Amen. Should we do the pledge of allegiance? Let's do that.
Mr. Bennett, you're not running this meeting.
Oh, no, but
appreciate
I
your
am part of the
engagement, and you can
I pledge
certainly-
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the agenda is before us as set by the appropriate parties. There is a time for public comment at the end of the session as usual. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda or otherwise?
I'd make that motion.
I'll second. The motion passes with all in favor. Do we need the exact, we can do that when I get to that point.
Should we, let's do that when we get to new business. It's on the agenda.
Okay. So we can start with the approval of the minutes from the July 26th and August 12th meeting. I think everyone's had an opportunity to review those online. Any changes or amendments we need to make?
Something for me.
And since we considered the whole agenda, I don't have to do a motion.
That's right.
So we'll move on to the financial reports. And I give the floor to Terry.
Sure.
Do you have any questions or discussions that needs to be made on the financial reports or anything from you, Terry?
No, we had a light start to our financials because start of a new fiscal year. And so there weren't a lot of expenditures for the first month of the year other than payroll and a few accounts payable items as presented in the voucher register.
Anything else we need to cover in that?
Madam Chairman, I don't have any questions about the voucher registry.
And then, anything we need to speak to on the expenditure report from July?
No, again, it won't show that we've expended very much. It took a while to establish ordering again, because we were busy closing our fiscal year from the year prior, so there's not a lot on there this time.
And then, sounds like we have to address that. Can we move on to the line item transfer?
Yes, the line item transfer was a repeat of last month's, but there was an error on last month's request to transfer funds from full-time to part-time. And so this is the correct amount. And it's for an employee who was full-time who's now working a part-time schedule.
Any discussion by the other members of the board or questions?
One comment, I suppose. I think the transfer should be amended to list our chairman correctly.
Yes, sir, you are right.
Any opposed to that change? Anything else on your end? Okay. So I believe we can move on to unfinished business. Terry, would you like to speak to the coronavirus report?
Sure. As you, I'm sure are aware, coronavirus and COVID is spiking in our community. On August 16th, the Campbell County Public Health Nurse reported 214 active and positive cases, 6 hospitalizations, 3 patients flown to other hospitals and on ventilators, and a patient passed away. Today, our number of hospitalizations went up to 7. There's 87 new cases since yesterday, and there's 288 active lab confirmed cases. So basically that's telling me that we are spiking again. I hate to see it. And even though we have a high vaccination rate amongst staff, we have had some staff members come down with COVID-19 since our last meeting. So, and then a spouse also tested positive. So, other than that, when we look at the use of the library, our statistics look like we are continuing the trend toward normal use. So, that is, I think it's been about 1.5 years of lesser use, and now it feels like it's getting completely back to normal. We are looking at, we're looking at what is public health recommending. We look at it every day. Basically, it's a voluntary choice to wear a mask or not to wear a mask, and so that's, we feel like we should stay with whatever the public health guidelines are. And also the governor is really kind of leaving it up to local communities to decide what kinds of steps that they want to implement. Does anybody have any concerns with how the library is open at the moment?
No, I don't.
And when you say leaving it to local communities, that's referencing the public health official in the county?
Have they given any indication that they've come up with new guidance, or?
They, I think that the guidance basically is if you're not vaccinated, they recommend a mask. And if you are vaccinated, if you can't achieve social distancing, that they recommend but not require masks.
Any feedback or indication from patients in terms of that?
I'm seeing a mix of patrons and staff wearing masks and not wearing masks.
In general, do you, I know we talked a good bit about this in the past, but in theory, we should have materials if we need to create the physical separation between like computer labs and things like that. We should have some of those materials still, or is that something we would not be able to reuse?
We never abandoned the practice of having some guards, so they're still in place at the public computers where patrons are closest together.
Comments on that? Okay, I think we can move on to the Google Libraries Build Business Grant item.
The technology wiring is now terminated, and the grantors from the University of Wyoming and the Laramie County Public Library in Cheyenne also set up video equipment and started some staff training. So our next step is to build a marketing strategy. We would like to try some things like invite small businesses in and show the equipment to them. It is extremely user-friendly, extremely consumer-friendly to run the video lab. And there's a lot of ideas out there about how small businesses can use the video lab to promote their businesses. So we want to start some of that type of training as well as soon as we get everything completely finished. There is a door that is on back order that should be installed soon. We also added the 3D printer and a conversion station that converts slides and VHS into files that people can watch their VHS or have their pictures printed. So we moved those into that room as well. And so it's now all enclosed, and because it's noisy when the 3D printer's running, it's a much better situation for that makerspace room, and we're really excited to see what we can do with that video lab.
And that's down with next to the teen room?
That's right across from the George Amos room.
Oh.
The top floor there, where the computers are, but it's back behind that reference desk.
And the door will be the one that partitions from reference desk to that room.
And it will swivel all the way around so that it won't ever be blocking entry and exit or be half open or anything. It'll be parallel with the wall the way it swivels around, so it's kind of a nice setup.
Anything else on that item? Hearing none, we can move on to the social media policy.
This is the social media policy that we put in front of you before. The wording on this policy is the same wording as created by the county commissioners. There are some places where it focuses on the Campbell County Public Library system specifically. And since we had existing social media, we did not include the how-tos on setting up social media, which a lot of county agencies really needed. So this is the policy that they, in spirit and in the verbiage that was adopted by the county, and so I'd like to get it approved and get it in our manuals. We do have an existing social media policy that we've been running from, but I like to coordinate with what the county's policies are.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve the social media use policy, number 508.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. None opposed, the motion passes. Thank you.
Will you vote on the consent items, please?
Oh, from before?
I'd make a motion that we approve everything on the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing no objection, the motion passes. Thank you. Head nods don't count. All right. All right. I think we can move on into new business. Let's begin with item 1, the September 27th library board meeting.
All right, so we have the opportunity on a quarterly basis to have a joint meeting with our county commissioners. And so September 27th would be that meeting. This is optional, however, I recommend that we do schedule that meeting. And so basically, probably a follow-up to the special meeting would be our agenda item if we choose to go that way. And any other additional things don't come to mind, but if you have anything, and of course I'm open to whatever the board would like to do.
We have discussion coming up later on the reconsideration items. Do you think we'll be at a point in that process, do you think that process will be complete or at a stage that looks like complete?
It'll be close. So I don't know for sure. We may have a few, one or two ready by then based on receiving and responding.
Yeah. So we'd have something to talk to them about that stuff.
Yeah.
And then from a budget standpoint, nothing new coming down the pipeline about that you know of with regard to the commissioners meeting, correct?
No, there isn't anything at this point, unless something comes up though, but we have several weeks before we would set the agenda so we can, if something comes up, we should be for sure. So are you in favor of having a joint meeting?
I think so. I think it would be important to follow up on the special meeting and then address any other items they have. And also, as far as budgetary issues, we have the plan in place with the budget approved for the year. But I do
Yes.
know they had also, at the last meeting or so, had indicated if there was any new information, they would kind of pass that along because some of the plan was dependent on attrition. So I think hopefully we'll get some guidance from them on that if there's anything new, and if not, we'll stay the course. Do you have any other questions?
Sounds good.
I don't.
You maybe, yeah. You do have
I'm
some
sorry,
discussion?
no.
You're good. Okay. With no more discussion on that, we'll move on to item 2, which is review of the bylaws that are in the next pages.
Normally, I provide the bylaws to review with our annual meeting, but it was a busy meeting, so I split it out to this meeting. So these are our bylaws, and every so often we make adjustments. A lot of times it's fine.
Anyone with discussion, questions, clarification regarding that? All right, then move on to the next item, which is review of magician program cancellation.
And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss security matters with the county attorney's presence.
Any second on the motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, a second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes, so we'll move that item of business to the executive session at the end of the meeting. So we'll move on to reconsideration.
Okay.
Pardon?
That sounds good.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I not do it right?
No, I think you did that fine.
Okay.
I'm all in favor.
I said you'd help with the procedural part. So we can move on, I think, to reconsideration of library materials.
Okay, so as of August 18th, we had 15 reconsideration forms that were received from 7 individuals. One of the individuals is not from Campbell County and is not in the statewide patron database. So this person is ineligible to do a challenge. However, the book that was challenged has been challenged by others, so it will still be addressed. The 15 forms submitted address 6 titles. This book is Gay, Transmission, My Quest to a Beard, The Babysitter's Coven, Music from Another World, The V Word, True Stories About First-Time Sex, Quick and Easy Guide to Queer and Trans Identities. The manager has 30 days to respond to the patron, and if the patron is not satisfied, the appeal process will kick in. There are some problems with some of the submissions in terms of that we'll try to address, but we'll still go through the process, but we have non-patrons and people who haven't actually read the material submitting requests, which is highly unusual for that to happen. And I also received 7 more on Friday that I haven't addressed yet either. So we'll be up to 22.
I take it you haven't reviewed the 7 that just came in?
So it goes to the manager first, and these are all from the team collection. So Darcy is in the process of doing what she is supposed to do.
Are the 7 on the same books?
Well, 15 forms, 7 individuals, 6 titles in that.
The 7 new ones? You
The
said
7
you
new
received
ones. Oh, the
7.
7 new ones. I haven't even had a chance to get. Darcy's been out of the office. There's some that are different books. Mary Wears What She Wants. Nina. My Body, My Choice. The Black Flamingo. Heartstopper. Jane Against the World. This book is gay.
So I have a couple questions.
Okay.
The downstairs area,
Mhm.
is that for teens, as teenagers? Is that correct?
It is a teen room.
Okay. According to the Young Adult Library Services Association, they classify young adult as 19 and up and teens as 12 to 18. And I know this book is gay is classified as young adult, so does that, if young adult is 19 and up, should it be a different?
For us, our definition of young adult is you've completed 6th grade and you haven't graduated from high school. Those are the parameters that we set. And so the books that we locate in that space would be of that age group.
So the books that are labeled young adult, you label those. The labels that are on there that say young adult, that's labeled by the library according to.
Yes, and in our definition of young adult, it would be, graduated from 6th grade and hasn't graduated from high school. That is our definition.
Okay, and then everything 19 and up is just adult.
Any other questions? Okay.
I'm a little concerned logistically, when we get to the point of reviewing these books, I assume we're going to get to that point, are we going to have enough copies for everybody to read? I started, this book is gay, and it seems to go fast, so I
Yeah.
would think that, I don't know if they're all going to be quick reads like that.
Some will take a little bit longer. We may, although we'll be able to respond within our given time, we may have to be able, just for the sake of being able to manage the workload with it, we may have to be able to take some as we can. So we may not be able to make a decision on 15 books all at the same time if they get appealed clear to the library board. So we may have to make it manageable, and I think that fits within our policy. And that should then allow you to have time to read.
Could they be checked out online, like as ebook? I've seen some libraries like in Las Vegas that have ebooks. Could they be?
I don't know what's on ebook, but we could perhaps add some copies on e-book, or there could definitely be some e-book copies in the stage, so I think that will help the point.
And then if we get to that point, Terry, that'll be something that you notify us of in a library board meeting, or?
Yes, yes, we will definitely know when it's time.
And the entire process stays here. It doesn't go outside of the library, right? You handle it, the staff.
Any other discussion on it? I believe we can move on to our director's report.
All right. Darcy is wrapping up some statewide youth services training, and she's going to attend a symposium November 3rd through 7th that is paid for by the Wyoming Library Association. She's representing and training across the state. Our Wyoming Library Association conference continues to be virtual. It's planned for October 7th and 8th, and we will set up something in the building for staff to attend. I'm attending some strategic planning training in October, and there has been some training offered by the Department of Justice for the community, and we are still evaluating if there is a need for that. At this time, we haven't felt the need to bring in the Department of Justice. In terms of some of the things that we're doing that helps us meet our mission, we wrapped up summer reading, and our reading incentives wrap up on August 27th. And our summer reading programs really help children who are learning to read to maintain the reading skills that they got at the end of the school year until they start the new year. So there's a lot of research that backs that up. Our senior citizen grant programs began with oral history training sessions and was very popular. Our seniors are excited to do oral histories, work with family members to tell their stories. Our Play to Learn sessions are offered the last week of August through September 2nd. This is a kind of a gets us into September story time beginning again, and it's kind of like an indoor playground with manipulatives and so forth. When we look at our school calendar, we try to meet community needs by hosting children crafts on early release days and STEAM activities. Our Master Gardener partnership is continuing with Shutting Down Your Garden. That's a program that's coming up. Our second annual Read and Ride car show is going to be in the library parking lot, and there will be numerous community partnerships with that. The Rec District grant purchased the Wyoming Award books for schools, so we'll be able to get these books into school libraries. Our teen volunteers boxed these books up for distribution. We'll have a craft swap that will assist crafters to share their supplies. The Liberation of Auschwitz program, which was canceled during COVID, is rescheduled and will happen at the end of September. And our Friends of the Library used book sale is September 14th through the 21st.
So we should bring in our books.
We have lots of books.
But you need more.
Just a few, in small amounts, yeah. I think that because of COVID, we have a lot more than usual, so it should be a really great book sale. We're planning junior high visits for a youth author. And Banned Books Week is September 26th through October 2nd. Our marketing is continuing.